Video, it looks like we are live. Hello, folks. Welcome once again to another edition of Wheelchair Wednesday. I'm your host, Wheelchair Rick, and we have another brave soul that has elected to come on here today and let me ask questions, see how he lives life in a wheelchair. But before we do that, let's go ahead and hit the intro. All right, now, today joining us is a guy, met him on Facebook, like I meet a lot of you guys that come on here. He wanted to come on so we could ask him some questions. Let's give him a warm welcome. Mr. Jay Lakes. Oh, Jesus. That is the wrong button, bro.
I'm about to say, I
That is
think
the
that's the wrong
wrong
button there, Rick.
No, I meant to hit this one. Here we go. There we go. Holy crap, man. Rest in peace, headphone users. I am so sorry to all our podcast listeners on Spotify, iHeartRadio, all across the world, actually. You'll be happy to know, Jay. So this is gonna be heard by a lot of people, hopefully, and I hope I didn't blow your eardrums out. So, how are you, sir?
I'm all right. How about yourself, Rick?
I'm doing all right. Doing pretty good. A little bit cold, but that's Michigan. You know what I mean? Got to stay warm. So
Absolutely.
let's go ahead before we get into this questionnaire stuff. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, tell people who you are, and how you became to be in a wheelchair.
So John, go by Jay. I was born with osteogenesis imperfecta. That's a birth defect. Basically means brittle bones. So I've been in and out of a wheelchair since like the 6th grade.
Wow.
Prior to that, I was actually able to walk. I was able to run a little bit, although like severely slow. I even at one point did gymnastics. But since the 6th grade, I've been permanently in a wheelchair.
Okay. So I guess that's kind of the first question is how to happen. What do they kind of classify your level of injury? You're just because I know like spinal cord injuries, we have like levels like T3, T4. That's what
Right. So the way classifications work with osteogenesis, it's on a type system.
Okay.
So initially, when I first got diagnosed, there were 4 different types. In which case, I was classified between 3 and 4. Through years, because it's so rare, through years of studies, through years of research, I believe there's like roughly 20 something different types now. Interesting. I actually just recently did a genetics test out in Johns Hopkins, and I was reclassified as just specifically a type 3, which is like on the severe end, but not the most severe.
Right. Okay.
So I mean that's a blessing and a curse, I guess, because anything further than that, you're looking at simple things causing breaks. So I don't want anything to do with that.
For sure.
I mean, a sneeze could break your bone. It's kind of nerve-wracking.
Yeah. My next question is what would the one thing you could do, like say you could get up and run and walk and do everything, like a normal able-bodied person would be.
Right.
What would you want to do? What's the one thing that you would want to do that you can't do now?
I would have to say walk, but like as odd as it sounds, it'd probably be for a different reason than what most would pick. The whole walking thing for me, like it never truly bothered me. I mean, like I was blessed as a kid to be able to walk and run around and jump around and all that type of thing.
For sure.
But it's more so like having to pass up on so many things. Being able to walk. Like I live here in Maryland. I grew up in DC. DC, especially downtown, is like an older city. Not everything downtown is accessible. I wanted to party. I wanted to hang out, do the nightlife thing in DC. But then you got to kind of nitpick on everywhere you go because not everything is accessible.
Oh,
So
sure.
I'm assuming that majority of us would say we wish that we could walk.
I mean, I agree with you there. Walking, I used to do a lot of, so like I'm not like in a big hurry to walk. But the one thing, like for me, for instance, is like I would like to be able to, I don't know, man, maybe just like run again. Like I remember what running felt like how it felt when you were running. You get out of breath and like your legs hurt and all that stuff. Or just like, 20 minutes, man, play some soccer with your kid or something. That's what one thing my kid always said is, man, we can't play soccer no more. It kind of sucks. I said, I'll hit it with my wheelchair. That'd be fun. Till it pops. So the next question
running.
is,
I was really slow at running. I just want to throw that out there. So I
for sure.
just give me the walk, and that's about how fast I ran.
So this next question is going to be dating married. How do you go about it? What's that about? Like, what's that like for you?
Dating and marriage. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, and it's an interesting topic. Interesting statement about that real quick is that, so my best friend and a lot of my friends are actually in wheelchairs, right? I grew up in the wheelchair basketball community. So ironically enough, every time they see two people hanging out in the wheelchair, the assumption is that we're couples.
Oh, damn. That's funny.
I've honestly,
what up, Mike? Good to see you. It's one of our
I've
guys
honestly,
chiming in.
Oh, people chiming in. Welcome. I don't know. I mean, it's different. It's difficult in its own way. I think like some of the hardest parts, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people could agree, is to explain your situation in a way that it doesn't come off as like an obstacle within a relationship. Right. I mean, the typical question is like, how could you protect? How could you provide? How much stress is this going to put on me? You know what I mean? That sort of thing. It's kind of looked as a burden to some people. I've been blessed, to have people that understand, and that's brave enough to ask those questions, that open up an avenue for dating and getting to know people. But to me, that's like the biggest obstacle. You always get those crazy questions, those crazy concerns,
right?
Especially for women, who, want to build a family. They want to have kids down the line. Does your disability affect that? Would I be able to have healthy children and that sort of thing?
Yeah. So, I think it takes a real one, man. It takes a real person to accept another person for, who they are despite their disabilities and, be willing to stay with said person for more than a couple months without realizing like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, like, me, myself, I don't have spinal cord injury, so that's a blessing. And it can definitely be difficult, especially so for me, my example is that with osteogenesis, there's actually a 50% chance, because it's genetic at birth, that it can actually carry over into reproducing and then having a child
and then having your child with the same disability. Yep. Right. I feel like that would be scary to think of. So moving on, I know this is we were getting dark there for a minute. That was to think about that. Yeah. What do you think for you is like your biggest pet peeve about having to use a wheelchair or like being around people or like just anything in general?
Okay, so there's three things, and I make jokes about one of them all the time. Is that you're like butt level with everybody.
Oh God, I hate it.
That's not very pleasant to be like at butt cheek level with everybody, able body. Yeah, and I'm a short guy in a wheelchair too, so it's even worse.
Dude, you're right in the fart zone, right in the spray zone.
Yeah, definitely. And then everybody wants to push you.
Oh yeah, I hate that too.
And like it's like, thank you, but you're not in a wheelchair. You have no idea what you're doing. People think you just grab a chair and you just push in a straight line. And I'm like, dude, the first thing you don't even know is that your eyes are never straight in front of you in a wheelchair. They're kind of down and in front. I mean, like, the smallest of things, and you're catapulting across the sidewalk. Right. I get tie light.
What's up, Amanda?
And then when people hold doors, you ever notice like for some reason when people hold a door for you, they stand in the worst possible spot.
And you got to maneuver around their feet, and you're like, oh, I don't want to squish your feet, bro. Like, you should stand behind the door and open it with your hand. I've done that a couple times. That's one thing I like about being in a power chair, though. Power chair, power chair people don't want to push you. A power chair, you can hit the up button and I can raise up, but not everybody has a power chair. Not everybody has, I guess has been blessed to be able to use it, or they don't prefer it. I got people that I know that don't like power chairs. They won't use one. Yeah. Why? What's that? Tell me about that. Why don't you like power chairs?
So one, I play wheelchair sports. So I always wanted to be as active as possible.
Yeah, and you got to be control of that. Yeah.
Right. And the biggest two things is maneuverability. Yeah. In that, like if my chair, my chair doesn't run out of batteries. I actually
Yeah.
had a neighbor that lived up the street. There's like a steep hill that went up to his house, and his chair actually died on the hill.
Oh no.
So you have a grown adult male, and like I don't know how much like an electric wheelchair weighs, but then you got that
Oh, about 400
with
pounds.
no power,
Yeah.
and someone like he's stuck on a dude. I could never be that guy. Like I'm
Right.
just terrified that I'd be like out in the middle of downtown,
Just
and all of
run
a
out of
sudden my
power.
wheelchair died.
That would
Yeah,
suck.
dude, and nobody helps stuff like that. I actually fell out my chair in downtown DC one time,
Nobody
and my
helped
chair
you?
almost rolled in the street.
Oh,
And
hell
I'm
no.
sitting on the sidewalk, and everybody like looking at me and just walking past me.
What is
Like a
wrong
guy's
with
in a garbage truck,
society
he's in a truck,
nowadays?
he's looking out the window like this, just
Yeah,
looking at me sitting on the ground.
that is crazy, man.
Drop my
Um,
breakfast, drop my drink.
that see, and that's one thing that I like. Where I live at, pretty much too, like it's hard to get around in a manual wheelchair. You know what I mean? We got all the grass, we got gravel, we got different stuff. My freaking driveway's got holes in it the size of Idaho, so it's hard to like, you know what I mean? But that is something that I want to start doing again, is getting back in my manual and kind of cruising around. Once I get these home mods done, it'll be easier. Next question is, do you have any pain? What kind of pain do you have with your disease?
It varies. So because it's a brittle bone disease, it doesn't affect everybody the same. 90% of my breaks are like wasting down, so legs, hips, ankles, knees, that sort of thing. And the one thing I tell everybody I know is that with joints, I swear, like it's like they never actually heal. So
Yeah.
I always get like hip pain, I always get like knee pain. My shoulders have been like crap since I was 15 years old.
Those are what you need.
Like tendonitis and whatnot. So,
Right.
the more I push, like, I'll get like this clicking and this popping sound. Next thing you know, I can't like raise my arm above a certain level. My arm just gives out. And then also I got like wrist pain now too, like in the joints. So basically for me, it's like all the joints are like aching, and then I'm getting older. So it's not a good time.
Right, I can imagine. That's another reason too that I was told by a couple people, about the power chair / to the manual chairs. With the manual chair, you got to be careful with your shoulders. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna need those probably the rest of your life.
That is 100% facts. Um, so, but then also the thing is, for at least for me, is that like one of the things that my doctor always preached to me was that either you use it or you lose it.
Right. Well, and that's why like a lot of people, like I do like the bands, I do free weights. I mean, I'm still kind of working out, but that's the thing that scares you, man. Because once those shoulders go or something, that what I mean, like then what are you gonna do?
Right.
Jonathan,
Luckily, they're not gone, but they definitely. I gotta put them down.
Jonathan McElroy says you weaken your shoulders not using them. Yep, that's
Still
what
here?
we're talking about. Yep. Truth, yeah. So I mean, that's another thing that I've seen people that are like quadriplegics that have to use a power chair. You know what I mean? And they have like gym memberships or something where they're going 3 times a week just to kind of work out their arms. So I mean, it's definitely, I think exercise is a big thing. Speaking of exercise, what do you do for exercise?
I'm currently I'm dealing with some health stuff, but prior it was basketball. I've been playing
Okay.
basketball.
I figured that after you
Since I was
said wheelchair
18.
basketball, yeah.
Dude, I love basketball, man. It's a fun sport. Initially, like when I was 6, I started with tennis. And I don't know what it was about tennis. It was fun, but it just wasn't as intense as I liked it to be. And then switched to basketball. Been doing it ever since. And also, out near me in Virginia, there's actually a place called DPI. Shout out to Devin if you're here. Where it's accessible gym.
Okay.
And it's actually ran by physical therapists.
Oh, nice.
They do free classes, and then they also have some paid classes. Specific, I know right now the big thing they got is boxing. So they actually do wheelchair boxing classes out there. And I was also doing it on top of basketball. So those were like my main go-tos.
Nice. Yeah, Jonathan said he lifts 12-ounce beers while cussing out his car before going back to wrenching on it. Sounds fun.
That guy here next time. He sounds like a good time.
I know, right? The next question I got for you is, what helped you, or what helps you, I guess you could say, the most after kind of having to deal with that injury? You know what I mean? Like, what kind of gets you through it?
Honestly, I don't even know. It's something with my personality, with certain things that will bother most people. It just doesn't seem to really bother me. I just make jokes about everything.
Right.
Like, crazy sound. I just don't take too much serious enough for me to
Stay
really
lighthearted.
broken I'm 35. Out of 35, I've broken at least 40 something times.
Damn.
The last one being I shattered my left knee and broke my right. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's that in basketball.
Right.
Like, literally, it's that.
I mean,
and in basketball.
literally, my other question was after that was, what's your hobbies? Before and after. I mean, but like you said, before you did basketball and after you did basketball. So I mean, is that it, or are you into like model airplane building, or do you feed birds, or what do you do? You know what I mean?
So I kind of bounced around a lot. Electronics, I love them. I was really like a computer geek growing up.
Okay, like getting into them or fixing them, or like just playing with them, or
it went through like a phase. It's like I can get bored kind of easy once I get into something. After a while, I get bored, and I got to entertain myself with something else. At one point, teenager, I was making beats and music and stuff like that. I taught myself.
Hey, I dig that.
I did the streaming thing. Yeah, I did the streaming thing. I did video editing.
I dig that.
One point in time, I just wanted to be an artist, so I was drawing a lot.
Right.
Right now, it's just I'm gaming and basketball are my two main hobbies. I'm definitely still a gamer.
What kind of games you play?
First person shooters. So that's Call of Duty, obviously. Sports, 2K. Anybody want to catch an L? I'm here.
What's your gamer tag?
So
what are you on? Are you on PC? Are you playing?
No,
on
I'm
PC,
not. I'm actually building a PC. I actually have right next to me, and I'm not going to show it because it's not even remotely close to being done. But I'm building a PC right now, 2B PC. I'm on the Series X. I'm on Xbox.
Okay, so am I.
And the gamer tag is Mumbo Sauce. That's MABOSAUCE. It's a DC type of thing. So
Mumbo Sauce.
Yeah, so in DC we have like every city and state they got like their own special thing. I know New York, out like Brooklyn, the Bronx and stuff like that, they have like a chopped cheese. Philly, you got your Philly cheesesteak. Right. And DC, at Chinese carryouts, yes, we eat at the carryouts. They do fried chicken and it's a sauce called Mumbo Sauce.
Nice.
It's like one of the most DC things I can think of, and I've recently just switched my gamer tag to it because why not?
We're gonna have you put it in the description. Just get it to me and we'll put it in there, or you can just put it in the comments in this video after Absolutely. Facebook or whatever. So my next to last is travel. Yes or no? Do you do any traveling?
I did. Majority of my traveling that I did came with wheelchair basketball.
Okay.
Most of the games, depending on your division, like you typically stick to your coast, unless you have to travel out to get competition in your division. I played D3, and I've also played D2. Once I get my health in order, I plan on going back to playing D3 basketball again. But most of the East Coast, I've went as far as Illinois. I think it's the furthest I've been as far as basketball. I definitely want to take some trips to Asia, though. I heard it's not super accessible.
Right.
But for whatever reason, I definitely want to go to Asia. I'm thinking like Thailand. I'm thinking Singapore. Kind of like places like that. Japan is on my list.
Right. Jonathan asked you what part of VA you in. I'm in Hagerstown, MD, Martinsburg, WV area.
So I'm not actually in VA. I am in Landover, Maryland. I'm actually by the Washington. I hate the name. The Washington. I'm calling it the football team. The Washington football team stadium.
Right. What is it now? The Washington Commanders or something? Or
yeah, we're not happy about it. We didn't pick that.
No,
I don't know why they said they gave the fans what they wanted. We didn't want that. So
right. And they're like, well, the fans have a different opinion.
Yeah, we don't. We don't want it.
So the last question that I got for you, definitely not the least, is what advice would you give to somebody who is like newly, I have on here newly injured, but like what advice would you give to somebody that is like newly kind of even dealing with something that you had to deal with, that is just now starting to realize they have to use a wheelchair, or Something like that. What would you say?
The best advice, and I wish it was advice that I was given like way earlier than what I did. It's just explore your options, man, on how you can, try to live a normal life to whatever that means to you.
Right.
There are a lot of accessible activities. There are a lot of accessible groups. I'm in a part of a couple of wheelchair groups, disability groups where you can meet people, hang out, talk about your disability. I know there's a Miss Wheelchair pageant. I got a couple of friends that compete to that. Kate, if you're here, Miss Philadelphia. So that's pretty cool. It's just explore, man. There's a lot of things out here for you, where you can still enjoy life no matter what, and that's the best advice that I think you can get, because it really helps you get through this stuff, man. It helps you, stay mentally healthy, where you don't feel like you're missing out on so much, and you keep yourself busy, and you actually find out it's actually quite fun. There's a lot of stuff out here.
Right. For sure, man. Well said. Well said, sir. Well, let's everybody, let's give Mr. Jay Mason a round of applause. Make sure I hit the right button this time.
Thank you.
Hey, man, it was good having you. We're going to stay in touch. I've told a lot of people, too, next year I'll probably do something where we get everybody around, maybe at the beginning of the year, and kind of do like a little, like a wall of celebrity type thing, maybe. Ask certain people different questions. Still got to figure out how to do that and how to run that around. But I do appreciate you being with us. Anybody else, if you guys are interested in joining a Wheelchair Wednesday, just find me, Wheelchair Rick. Hit the thing, send me a message. And
the legend, Wheelchair Rick. The legend.
Hey, man. I'm just a humble guy serving the public, okay? That's all I want to do.
Shout out to Wheelchair Mafia.
Hey, shout out to Wheelchair Mafia. If you're looking for any last-minute Wheelchair Mafia gift items, we're going to have a sale on the website, wcmafia.com. That'll take you right to it. And I'm not sure what we're going to do yet. I think I might announce it on tonight's stream. Tonight we have a special stream, too, after this, Jay. I don't know what you're doing, but check it out. Me and Mr. Rowdy Freeman is going to have another little discussion about America and the way things are going down today. Hopefully to keep me on Facebook. But who knows? You know what I mean? Who knows? The truth must get out there, Jay. But
don't end up in Facebook jail, man. Don't do it.
No, I just got out for 3 days. It wasn't very fun, but it's something's gonna have to happen eventually. Either they're gonna be so tired of us they quit doing it, or we're gonna switch platforms. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I heard Rumble's great this time of year. Sucks you got to pay $10 to live stream though.
But you said on which one?
Rumble. It's called Rumble.
Never heard of it.
I know, right? There's all kinds of new ones popping up. But before I get too far off the beaten path, stay with me, Jay. We're going to get back to you. Everybody else, thanks for watching. Pick another video if you want. Check me out on YouTube. Make sure to like, subscribe. Hit all those little dingly buttons with the, notification, whatever you call it.
Oh, the bell icon?
Yeah, there you go. And we'll see you next time.
Here, buddy.